Gainesville, The Villages, 13, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Robin, when you were younger, did you ever want to be a model? Oh, there she goes. Unless you ever want to be a radio host. She forgot to sit by the microphone, though. All right, so we're going to talk about models. It's time for Ocala Magazine Radio. Jessi Miller is in the studio from Ocala Magazine. How you doing, Jessi?
Great.
Good to see you again. We got a caller on the phone, a guest on the phone, I should say, Kimberly.
Yes, Kimberly Leemans.
And she's actually one of the cover models for Ocala Magazine, right?
She is on our current cover
Look
right
at that
now,
pretty
if
picture,
I'm
right?
holding up the screen. And she also has the one and only position of being our very first cover model contest winner. So back when we first held this contest, she entered, I might let her tell this story once we start talking to her, but her dad entered her and she didn't even know it. So, and
dads always know.
Yeah.
Dads always know.
Yeah. And, it ended up being the beginning of a great career that she has.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. So
is she here in Ocala?
She is from Ocala, and her family is here, and she's done a lot here, but she is currently out in, you end up traveling around a lot, modeling and acting, right? So she's been a lot of places, but she's currently in Bend, Oregon, and she's actually gotten into the agent business, so she wants to manage models. She feels like she really understands this business on the other side of it.
I remember you said something.
So she can do a great job of really having, I think, a different relationship and maybe being able to help them even better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you said something last week about that, and I think that's the best way for a model to have an agent who also understands modeling.
Absolutely.
And maybe there's some exceptions to that, right? But at least they know the business, they've done it, they've been in your shoes.
Yeah, I feel, obviously I'm not a model, but I feel like being on the other side of the business, that there's a lot of, I am not, but I think that there can be a lot of insensitivity, like models get shoved around and just treated like, they're the object, the meat, the whatever, like just go do this, whatever. And,
oh, really?
And I think that happens in the career as well as literally in the room. Like, I think they've been walked down halls naked and, not all of them, but these things happen. So someone managing them and working with them that's been on that side can only be better.
Okay, so Kimberly's on the phone, and to your right, that's Amanda?
Yes.
Amanda Pell?
Uh-huh.
Nice to meet you, Amanda.
Hi.
Are you from Ocala?
No, I'm from Georgia.
From Georgia? Mm-hmm. Wow. And when did you move here?
About 9 years ago.
9 years. And you entered the contest, is that right? The Ocala Magazine contest?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow. That is cool. And, obviously, both of you ladies are model-ish, model-esque. Did you always know this all your life? Does being pretty occur to you, or does it have to occur to your dad?
I think that... No, I think you don't know until people start telling you that.
And then what is it? Is it like
and then you're like, I am?
Aww.
That's a nice thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a nice thing to be pretty. It's a nice thing to be looking at somebody pretty, right, Robin?
Right.
Yeah.
And to your right, Amanda, Sophia Arrington. Am I saying your name right?
Yes.
Thank you for coming in as well. So when did you know that... Is modeling something you do because you can? Because obviously you're both able to, and it seems like a good thing. But is there a passion for it? Do you like doing it?
I do enjoy modeling. It's just something that I discovered over time. It was something that I could do. So I got an agent back in 2017, and I just kind of been going from there.
Really? Are you also from somewhere else, or are you from here?
No, I'm not from here. We moved here back in 2000, I think. Okay. But I was born in Jacksonville.
2000. That's a long time ago. You don't look much older than that.
That's very young.
So where has it taken both of you so far, aside from Ocala Magazine, which is awesome? It's a beautiful magazine to be in, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Heather, I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna find your spreads.
I don't consider myself a real model. I just help people.
Here's her not really modeling.
Oh, you're gorgeous, Amanda.
I just was in the Silver Springs brochure and commercial a few years ago. I've helped.
That was a smart move on their part. Yeah.
My friend, I helped them in like a boating commercial, and than the Appleton.
Well, yeah, it's obvious right from the beginning here, and including Kimberly on the phone.
Oh, beautiful Sophia, too.
Where is that? Is that in Ocala?
Jesse's showing us your picture.
Yeah, we shot all of these ladies in downtown boutiques and used the clothing from the boutiques to help promote that, and just our downtown vibe, which is growing and growing. So we went ahead and shot them all in different shops or right outside of different shops downtown.
Let me ask you something, Jessi, because you're an artist. When you work with a model as an artist, what do you look for?
Well, interesting. I look for interesting. And I mean, obviously beauty, right? But there's a lot of kinds of beauty. I like something that's interesting, and whatever story it is that we're trying to tell with any particular piece. If it's a fashion piece or if it's an editorial piece or whatever it is, it's still going to have some kind of theme and story. And so, whoever is kind of right for that look, are we telling a cultural story? Are we telling a I don't know what, a summer fun story, a beach story, whatever it is, right? There's a million stories. So I think about storytelling.
Let me get Kimberly into this conversation. Kimberly, we didn't mean to leave you out. Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning, ladies.
Kim!
And gentleman, there's a guy here too.
Yes, there is.
Kimberly, where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Bend, Oregon this morning.
Oh, that's right. Bend, Oregon. My brother's out in Oregon. So you got up early to do this.
Right. Yes, I did. I'm sipping on some water so I don't sound too croaky right now.
Is that where you live now?
It is, yes. This is my home base. It's heaven on earth. I love it.
So what drew you to enter the first Ocala magazine cover model contest?
Sorry, did you say what did I do?
What drove you to enter it?
Well, actually, my dad submitted me behind my back. He heard about it, and he always hears about everything in town. I think he's listening right now. Hi, Dad. And he just submitted me, and then I got called in for interviews for to select the final girls. And then I got called to say, oh, we want you to be in our photo shoot the way the girls are doing right now. Which was super exciting. I was like, what did you do? The only pictures that I'd ever had taken was, of course, of my dad being like, hey, why don't you pose next to the horses in Ocala? And, so that was the extent of my modeling career. And then we ended up doing the photo shoot, which was amazing. Girls, I'd love to hear how your shoot went. I was so bummed that I couldn't be there in person, but I love the pictures, and I cannot wait to see the spread next month. And it just kind of rolled out from there of doing the photo shoot, waiting a very, very long month, like I'm sure you girls are doing, to see who gets what, and then seeing myself on the cover the next month, which was insane.
Well, you are looking really good on that cover.
Thank you.
Oh, on this one, yeah. She's actually been on, I think, like 3 or 4 total Ocala magazine covers.
Oh, wow.
And of course, a lot of other magazines.
It helps my magazine count for sure.
Yeah.
And one of the things we were told, Kimberly, is that you represent other models and try to get them jobs and photo shoots.
I do. So there's an agency here in town that opened up, and they do actors and models. And they kind of approached me to be like, hey, would you want to be repped? And I already repped. And so I said, but if you ever have an agent opening, I'd love to do that, because I feel like I understand the business pretty well. And they were like, actually, you'd be perfect for that. And I was like, actually, I would be perfect for that. That was about a year ago, and we represent locals here.
Really?
And I am super passionate about trying to protect them as much as I can, knowing the industry the way that I do. Just getting girls paid correctly, making sure that the sets that they're on are legit, and I have a big mama bear heart when it comes to that.
Those are good things, and I bet your dad appreciates that too, when you find the legit, right? So what do we, the general public, misunderstand about the modeling profession?
That's a good question.
You
would misunderstand. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna. If you didn't, I'm not. But from my perspective, I see that it's harder work, and it involves a lot more patience and flexibility than people might think. I think.
Oh, that's probably true. I've been numbed out on that end. But yeah, patience, being okay with rejection, understanding that it's not just a pretty face, that it is its own art form, which a lot of people don't want to give it credit for. You got to know your angles. You got to be able to know what you're selling. You got to make the contacts. You have to go to 50 auditions to get one yes. It's an endurance game for sure.
Aside from a fashion shoot, are clothing important? Is that right? Is clothing important? Our clothing. Our clothing. What is
clothing.
It? Is clothing important? Aside from a fashion show, which obviously is to be important, but is the clothing important if you're doing let's say, a commercial for a car?
It is. Every detail in media in the industry is, scrutinized and picked over and over and over again. So the final product that you see has been digested at least 20 times to the 10th detail. So yeah, the way that your hair is, the makeup that you're wearing, the look that they're going for, the mood, the branding, all of that has been thought over 1,000 times before they finally bring the model in, which is the last little step.
Ladies, is this a step for you to something else, like acting or something? Is that part of what you're hoping for?
Amanda?
No.
No. So where are you going? What's your future?
Well, I'm actually a yoga instructor, so I'm opening a yoga studio in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it's just something fun I like to do, on the side.
And how about you, Sophia?
Well, I also do acting as well, and I also write, and I eventually want to be a film producer.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, you're the boss.
That's excellent.
To be the boss, wow.
But being a writer is pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
What age do you ladies think that other ladies should start modeling at? Because sometimes I feel sad for the tiny girls that are out there.
Is that question for me too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
I would say as early as you can, because it's a long game, ladies. Anyone who's listening is, don't get discouraged if you haven't made it by 21. The game ages out very quickly. So I would say start it as soon as you can. I never did it before I was 18, so I don't know that game at all. God, I wouldn't know. I don't know if I would want to be like a young model, because there is this weird gap of being kid model, and then you start to change, and then you have to go straight into kind of more adult type of photography. So that's really, you got to have a really good support system around you. But I would say if you're 18 or if you're 17 and you're super interested in it, I would say get started as soon as you can.
So you said it's more than just a pretty face. Are there certain faces that work better for certain jobs? Like you think of Morgan Freeman, for example. Morgan Freeman's he's a good-looking guy, but he's not. He doesn't look like you ladies. I mean, clearly two different looks, right? So there's an element of trust in somebody famous like that, I think, right? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, the looks are changing by the minute. So what you think you're growing up with, in the 90s, I was looking at the 90s supermodels, and so I was like, oh, it's a more curvier body, it's these supermodel girls. I was like, yeah, that's gonna be great. And then when I was coming up, it was all very weird skeletal alien shaped women, and then now it's
where did you grow up? Wait.
No, it's true. They've taken off eyebrows.
Oh, remember that? Oh, that. Yeah, I didn't like that look either. Yeah. Taking off the eyebrow look. Yeah. I'm glad eyebrows are back. You keep your eyebrows.
I think it's coming back to the curvy again, though.
Mm-hmm.
Does fashion
shaved eyebrows?
No, what? No, thick eyebrows are back, definitely, but the body type curvy, I think, is coming back.
What about tattoos? Are tattoos frowned upon because?
Oh, that's a good question.
Are they?
I think it's changing. I think more and more people are going to go for real-looking people, which is great. But I think if you do have tattoos, just be prepared to cover them up. It depends what product you're selling at that moment, but I think it is opening up more and more to just, people want to see themselves be represented in ads. So it's not going to be this unattainable beauty anymore.
Sophia, you had something you want to say?
I was just going to say, I know within the industry, a lot of the castings I see, they do prefer, it depends on the client and the product, obviously, but they do request, most of them, no tattoos, or if you're able to cover them up. But then I also see castings where they're willing to accept people with tattoos as well. So it just depends on the look, like if they're looking for more edgy or just something more clean cut.
So where do you go for do you have an agent that represents you, Sophia?
Yes, I have one in Orlando and one in Tampa. So
really?
Yes, usually my auditions are in one of those locations.
How could you ever not pass an audition?
It happens. There's a lot of no's.
You have some no's?
Yes.
What are they looking for?
Yeah, I don't know. So it just depends. There's a lot of competition.
They're looking for Morgan Freeman if they're not picking you. They want the other side of the picture, right? So what kind of jobs do you get? Where do you get the yeses?
So recently I did a commercial for Luna Flooring. It's also similar to Empire. It's going to air, I think, within the next month throughout Florida.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, you may see me like real quick in that commercial. So I've done a little bit throughout Florida with commercials, but mainly print.
That's cool. So for Kim and Sophia, who both act and model, I feel as a creative director, as an art director, so I feel like acting, even if a model is not an actress, I feel like acting is really important. I think one of the best qualities I can think of in a model is the ability to emote and not just stand and pose, not just kind of cheesy smile or whatever it is, to really like kind of emote something, like whatever that emotion, that feeling, and sort of get out of their space. So Kim, when you're like in all your experience and when you're repping people, is that true? And do you like talk to models about acting ability, even if they're not actors?
Good question.
It's a good question and a really good observation. I feel like the people that I rep they want to be on one side or the other. They just want to model or they just want to act. But it's true when you have that little crossover, there is a difference in personality and output and comfort on a set. So that's a really good point. So yeah, if you're modeling, I would just say take body movement, maybe some acting classes, and if you're an actor, I think it's always good to know your different angles and how you photograph. Obviously, it's just a moving picture.
And Jessi showed us.
That's a really good point.
Jessi showed us some of the still photographs, and Amanda and Sophia, you look very natural there. Nothing looks forced at all. How do you manage to get into that moment?
Well, for me, I just, I don't know. I just try to make it as natural as possible. I don't want it to come off looking like I'm posing in any way. So I just, try to do some looks like smiling, non-smiling. I'll just try to maybe have like a thought in my head or look like I'm looking at something in the distance just to, achieve a certain look.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell me, or tell somebody listening who wants to be a model, what should they do? I mean, should they send, what do they call it, a headshot, Robin? Is that what they call that picture?
Mm-hmm. A headshot.
Is that an old school term, or do you still do that?
It's used.
Yeah? I don't know. What do I know?
Model comps, which is a variety of shots. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Kim, what do you take? Where they just send you a whole bunch of everything?
Yeah, I would say, when you're first starting out, you don't have any pictures. They're going to want some Polaroids or some digitals, and it's basically you in front of a blank wall, and just showing, a very close-up of your face and the profiles of your face, a full body shot if you're a girl in a bikini, if you're a guy with your shirt off, just to give them an idea of what you're looking for. And you can go far with pictures like that. Don't feel like you have to drop a ton of cash to get pictures right away, because the agency is going to want to get you to work. So they're going to set you up with photographers to build your portfolio at the beginning. Be careful about paying too much money at the beginning. That is a
what would you pay for? What do you pay for? You mean just photography?
You pay for the photo shoot, which, depends who you're shooting with. If you're shooting with an incredible photographer, but no one has $800 that they can just drop on brand new pictures when you don't even know if this thing's going to pan out. So, start with some basic Polaroids, makeup free, that show blank canvas, who you are, what they're working with. and then eventually they'll start setting you up with some test shoots to build your portfolio.
So,
and my advice to that would be, I mean, it's hard when you just when you're starting from the beginning and you don't know the industry, but I would look at the photographer's portfolio and see if it's a vibe that you're even interested in, because I've done so many shoots where you're just like, what was that?
Jessi, with the magazine,
one, you never see the pictures, which is super frustrating, and two, it's just not the vibe you want it to be going for. So
Yeah.
Does the contest?
God, I just want everybody to call me and that I can give them all of the information.
All right, we want to get your information, but hold on just a second. Jessi, does the contests kind of serve that purpose? Like somebody young who doesn't have any money, they want to get into this, but they've got the look?
For sure, for this contest, you get some visibility and you get some photos out of it without paying for them, and you get the coverage of those photos running in a magazine and in a higher level of social media than if it was just your own personal. So you can get, some attention and some portfolio materials. And obviously, if you win, then you get a cover in your portfolio, which is pretty big.
It's incredible. This opportunity for you girls is really, really amazing, because you will have your first magazine tears, and that is huge for a model starting out. That's all you want are these proof of jobs, right? And when you can actually tear out that page from the magazine and put it in your portfolio, it's amazing. It's legit, and agencies will already take you so much more seriously.
Do the photographers hold the copyrights to the photos, or after the photo shoot, can you take some of the photos and use it for your portfolio and submit it to other places?
Yeah, so you can talk to the photographer, and he would individually, or he or she, whomever that is, but at any given case, make whatever deal, it's all case by case. In our case, the photos that run in the magazine owns, but the photographer owns the whole out, like the rest that didn't go. And I think that, the way we are in this small town with our relationships, they're usually pretty easy to work with and generous with those things. But, in other towns or other situations, photographers you might buy them from them or something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So where do you go from here with the photography? You've got a yoga studio. So that's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're a perfect model for your own studio. So
I'll put my pictures all over.
And how will this help you, Sophia, in your quest to being a filmmaker and all, to being the models?
Well, I definitely look forward to getting some copies of these photos to add to my portfolio and to use with the agents I have, just to submit for castings, to have some different looks to show.
We have a few filmmakers in this studio, and they've had some pretty impressive movies shown at the local theater. I don't know if they're kind of up and comings also. Robin herself worked for 6 years? How long did you work?
14 years for the Film Commission and the Florida Motion Picture and Television.
Yeah, Robin was in all that. Yeah. She rubbed elbows with all of them. Who was the guy you worked with? The big, my name drop a little bit. What was that?
Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, you know him.
Yeah. And Philip is an actor, so maybe there's a little bit of connection there too.
That's cool.
Really, really good interview as always. Well, thank you all for being on the air. Are you Kimberly? Are you wanting people to contact you if they're interested in being a model?
I would say just if you have questions about it, unless you wanted to move to Bend, Oregon. That's what I would say. I think you probably
kind of far away, yeah.
Florida. But yeah, always find me on social media. I ended up making a little YouTube clip because people were asking me so many questions about how to start acting and modeling. So I just did I made a little video to. How
do we find that?
These are the ways that you start. So I can send that to you. It's on YouTube, Kimberly Leemans, I don't know, acting advice or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but any questions, especially when you have a job or if you have a question about an agency or if something feels weird, follow your gut, but totally feel free to reach out to me because, I feel like when you've gone through this much and you have the knowledge, share the wealth.
Good to share it. Amanda, do you have a website you want to share?
Yes, onehotyogaocala.com.
Say it again.
It's One Hot Yoga.
Hot Yoga, okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm on Instagram and Facebook right now. I'm working on my website.
Nice.
Very good.
But we hope to open at the end of the month.
Sophia, how do we get a hold of you?
I'm also on social media, Facebook, Instagram. So yeah, that would be the best way for now.
And voting for these models closes Monday at midnight, so there's still a few days to hop on there and vote for them.
How do we vote?
On
we go
Facebook, you just click
go to
like.
Facebook? Okay.
Oh, right to the OM Facebook
Right, yep,
page?
it's pinned up there at the top. So right at the Ocala Magazine Facebook page, you'll see that post on top, and you can browse through and vote for your favorite cover model.
Oh my gosh. You all have a bright future ahead of you. It's easy to see that. I mean, you got the looks and the brains and the voices and everything. Kimberly, thank you for being on the air with us. Sophia Arrington and Amanda Pell, thank you ladies for being here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, Jessi.
Thank you.
Jessi Miller, thank you.
You're in good hands with Jessi, let me tell you.
All right, we'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. As President Trump signals openness to considering more background checks and other gun control